Hey everybody! So this video is going to go over the midterm exam. I wanted to have a separate video that explains what you need to do to complete and submit the exam, and I wanted it here in the instructions for the exam, hoping that, some of you may not always watch the homework assignment videos in the module, so I wanted to make sure that everyone was more likely to watch this one, because I do want to make sure that everyone understands exactly how to complete the midterm and then how to submit it. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to notice is that we are not in the quiz area of Brightspace. This is a midterm exam, but it is not a traditional test or exam. It's in a Word document. Okay, you are going to treat it like a normal homework assignment. This way, you can work on the exam in sections if you want, and you don't have to sit down and try to complete it all at once. And I hope that, is helpful to you guys. So the first thing that you'll want to do, if you're watching this video, if you have the instructions in full screen mode, once you watch the video, you're going to want to go out of full screen mode, and so that the instructions are in the smaller box, because then you're going to want to scroll down just underneath that instruction box, and you should see a link for a Word document. So that file is called MidtermExam.docx. When you click on that, Microsoft Word will open, and you will see the midterm there in that document. First thing, save it immediately, even though you haven't done any work on it yet. Save it to your computer or to a flash drive, and that way it's there. You have it there at your convenience. You can open it up, work on a little bit, save it, shut it down, come back later, open it up, work on a little bit more, save it, shut it down, right? So save it immediately, right? Once you have completed the entire exam, save it one last time, and then go to Brightspace, go to the week 4 module, go to the midterm exam, go to the assignment, and you're going to attach it and submit it just like a normal homework assignment. Okay? I want to go through the exam itself, though, and make sure that you know exactly how to complete each section, right? So basically what the midterm exam is covering is what we covered in the first 3 weeks. So we're looking at the 4 steps of a writing process. So we're going to be looking at point, support, coherence, and a little bit of sentence skills, right? So part 1 is evaluating scratch outlines for unity. So remember, unity is making sure that our paragraphs are focused on one single idea, right? So you have 5 groups, 5 questions here in part 1. And each group is a potential paragraph. It's the outline for the paragraph. So you have the point in bold, which would be like the topic sentence. And then you have a list of sentences underneath that. So it's just an outline of the sentences that could possibly go into the paragraph. The problem is that not all of these sentences belong in this particular paragraph. They go off topic just a little bit, right? So for instance, for part 1, number 1, the point of this paragraph is, in 1699, the Pennsylvania Religious Society of Friends argued against the evil of slavery. That's the focused point of this paragraph. And you have 5 sentences listed underneath in the scratch outline. 2 of them don't belong. They need to be removed, right? So I want you to highlight or underline the 2 sentences that veer off topic just a little bit, right? These sentences will probably still have something to do with the Pennsylvania Religious Society of Friends, or they might have something to do with slavery, but they don't fall under that umbrella of the point that this particular paragraph is trying to make. So underline or highlight the 2 sentences that don't belong in this particular paragraph, the ones that go off topic just a little bit. And there are 2 sentences in each group that need to go. Highlight or underline them. In part 2, we are still looking at unity, right? Same idea, except now we have the actual paragraph written out for us. It's not just a scratch outline. But in each paragraph, there are sentences that go off target a little bit and don't belong. Your job is to find them and highlight or underline them. And I've told you how many are in each paragraph. So for instance, part 2, number 1, it says highlight or underline the 2 off-target sentences in this paragraph. And then the paragraph follows, a kindergarten failure. All right, so in part 2, number 2, also 2 off-target sentences. In number 3, there's 3 off-target sentences. In number 4, there's 3 off-target sentences. And in number 5, there's 5 off-target sentences, right? So do your best to find those and highlight or underline them. All right, so part 3, we're moving on to the next step of writing, which is support. All right, so evaluating paragraphs for support. So the instructions here say, each of the 5 paragraphs below contains several supporting examples. Some of those examples are supported with sufficient supporting details, meaning enough. There's enough supporting details for that example. But other examples are insufficient and still need more support. They still need more explanation. So in each paragraph, I want you to highlight or underline the sentences or examples that still need more supporting details. So for instance, in part 3, number 1, it says highlight or underline the 2 sentences or examples that still need more support. So this paragraph is chicken, our best friend. So you're going to go through that paragraph, and there should be a moment, actually 2 moments in this case, where you read a sentence and, you know, one of the examples that they're giving, and then they just move right on. There's not enough. They need to explain that example a little more. So when you get to that sentence, underline or highlight it. And again, I've told you how many should be underlined or highlighted in each one. So part 3, number 1, there's 2. Number 2, there's 1. Number 3, there's 1. In number 4, there's 2. And in number 5, there's 3. Right? So in each paragraph, find the sentences that need more support and underline or highlight them. Okay? Part 4, we've moved on to the 3rd step in writing, which is coherence. Remember, that's tying everything together and making it flow logically. So we are revising paragraphs for coherence. So for part 4, number 1, there's a paragraph below the instructions called apartment hunting. That paragraph has great supporting examples, but they're not ordered logically. You know, the organization is all over the place and it needs to be fixed. The first thing that the author should have done was go through and explain everything in time order. That'll make more sense once you read the paragraph. They're kind of explaining a process. So a process has very definite steps, right? They needed to go through them in the correct order, and they don't. To help them get there, they should have done a scratch outline to make sure they had the order of the process correct. That's what you're going to help with. Okay? So, underneath the paragraph, you will see a blank outline. So I've got the topic sentence with a blank after it. You need to write in what the topic sentence is. Hint, the topic sentence is already fine. Okay? Then you've got step 1. What is step 1? You can put this part kind of in your own words or take a complete sentence from the paragraph. And then what are all the things that go with the first step? What is step 2? And what are the 3 details that go with step 2? What is step 3? And what are the 5 details that go with step 3? And then what is the point sentence or the concluding sentence? That's probably okay as well. So you can take the whole sentence and just pick out the most important words from that sentence and fill that in on the blank, right? You shouldn't have to think about this in your own words too much. You're not going to be putting complete sentences on every single blank. The only ones that should be truly complete sentences are the topic sentence and the concluding sentence. Everything else should just be words and phrases, but you can use words and phrases from the original sentences, okay? All right, so do your best with that. I think once you read through the paragraph and think about how it should be ordered, it's going to make more sense how to fill in this outline. But of course, if you really are struggling with it, get in touch with me and I'll try to guide you there as best I can, right? So part 4, number 2, we're still looking at coherence here. So we have another paragraph, a difficult period, contains a lot of good specific evidence, but again, everything's out of order. It's not organized the right way. And this one really gets kind of confusing. But instead of doing a whole scratch outline, what you're going to do is I've taken a certain number of sentences from the paragraph, and 6 to be exact, and you want to order them the correct way. So underneath the topic sentence, since I arrived in the Bay Area in midsummer, I have had the most difficult period of my life. Those 6 sentences are listed with little blanks next to them. Write the correct order, right? So which sentence should come first after the topic sentence? Put a 1 next to it. Which event happened next? Put a 2 next to that one, right? So just order these in the correct order in terms of what makes most sense, what's logical, right? Then part 5, we are evaluating paragraphs for all 4 bases. Point support, unity, support, coherence, and sentence skills. Okay, so there are 5 paragraphs in part 5. Each paragraph is followed by 5 possible options. You're going to read the paragraph and decide which of the 5 options best applies to that paragraph. So for instance, part 5, number 1, it says highlight or underline the statement, only one, that best applies to this paragraph. And the paragraph is texting. Read that paragraph, right? Then decide which statement best applies. The paragraph is not unified, meaning it goes off topic. The paragraph is not adequately supported, so it stays focused, but we need more supporting evidence. Or the paragraph is not well organized, it just jumps back and forth and no real logical progression through the ideas. Or the paragraph does not show a command of sentence skills, so the grammar and mechanics and spelling are all off. Or the paragraph is well written in terms of the 4 bases. Okay, so there are 5 paragraphs, and for each paragraph there's 5 options. One of these paragraphs is not unified. All the others are. One of them is not adequately supported. All the others are. One of them is not well organized. One of them does not show good sentence skills. And one of them is well written. So there's only going to be one answer per paragraph, but no 2 paragraphs are going to have the same answer, right? So go through and figure out what's wrong with that paragraph and then choose that option. And then after part 5, we have a little bonus for 10 points. I want you to go back to that paragraph in part 4 number 1 on apartment hunting, okay? The one that you created the scratch outline for. Now, for bonus points, you can rewrite the paragraph. You want to make sure that you use that scratch outline you created to help you rewrite the paragraph. If you give me just a copy and paste job of the original, you won't get any points, right? But use your scratch outline and try to rewrite the paragraph so that it is more cohesive, so there is coherence. Everything is tied together. So first, use the outline to guide you. Be sure to introduce each of the 3 steps with transitions, first, next, then finally, right? You may also want to use repeated words, pronouns, and synonyms to help tie your sentences together, right? So type your revised version below the instructions for the bonus, and be sure it's indented like a true paragraph, okay? So you get up to 10 bonus points if you attempt that. If you have any questions about any of the sections, let me know right away. Don't forget to save your work as you go if you choose to work on it in stages, right? You don't want to lose any of your progress. Upload it once you're finished like a regular assignment, okay? And, you know, just know too that if you don't do so well on it the first time around, there will be an opportunity to make up some points, okay? Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck on it.